How are you, Schefter?
Hello there, Rich. How you doing?
I'm better for talking to you. How did this happen? How did this happen with Romo? Because here we are, first day of the new league year, and he's putting out Instagram videos, and it sure sounds like if Jerry Jones was going to release him on that day, he'd be talking to the Texans and Broncos with a helmet on right now for maybe one of those teams, and now he's going to have a headset on next to Nance. How did this all happen, Adam?
Well, I think that the networks have been courting him for quite some time, and I think after the season, when you have the injury-marred season that they had this year, last year, I think you have to do some soul-searching. And I know that he was told that he would be released on the opening day of the league year, and for whatever reason, I don't have an exact explanation, the Cowboys changed their mind. I don't think that ever changed Tony's mind, but to your point, it did give him more time to think, to mull the decision, to listen to the networks. Look, to think that he wasn't exploring opportunities with other teams, wondering where he could play, mulling that idea, I think would be naive. So I think he's thinking about it all together. Now, to your point, maybe if he is released at opening day, maybe he's more apt to go sign. But I was told at that point in time that even if they had released him, that it was not going to be a quick and sudden decision for him the way it is for many free agents, that he planned to take a tour, for lack of a better phrase. I don't know how many teams would have lined up, to be perfectly honest, but there would have been interest. He would have gone around. He would have met with organizations and staffs, and he wanted to hear ideas from organizations before he even made a decision. So even if the Cowboys had released him, Rich, I think he was going to take time anyway, and I think in the end he probably would have come to this decision anyway. He's turning 37 later this month. He's got 2 kids. He's got a third on the way. He's gotten beaten up pretty good. And there are not many times in your life when you get the opportunity to go work next to Jim Nance as the #1 color commentator on CBS.
Now, that's true. I mean, and I mentioned that yesterday and when this story first came out the whole time, that this is a rare opportunity and it allows him to be home, take kids to school, win every week. Not, Nance isn't going to try and blindside him, literally or figuratively. And he's in great shape on that front, but it's just you could even hear it in his conference call yesterday, though, Adam. He's leaving the door ajar even more than the Jordan percentile or the Favre percentile here. It strains a little bit of credulity that he would not be a Houston Texan right now if Jerry Jones had popped the door open for him to try and kick the tires and talk to Bill O'Brien and the McNair family.
That was the one landing spot, and I think the one thing that struck me about all of Tony's comments yesterday was the fact that he said, I'm 99% sure that I'm finished. Not 100, 99, okay? And if he's saying 99, it's probably 79 in actuality. Mm-hmm. The fact that he's been saying that. And as one NFL executive texted me yesterday, look, he's going to be every team's backup plan. And I think if you flipped last season into this season, I think that there would be some calls that Tony Romo would find difficult to resist. If the Vikings lost Teddy Bridgewater again in late August, and they called Tony Romo and said, come play for our great team with our great defense, and the Oakland Raiders lost Derek Carr right before the start of the postseason, and they said, come play for our team, again, that might be hard for him to resist. But as I said, I think natural events just have to take their course here. He has to see how much he likes this TV, and I expect he'll like it. TV has to see how much it's going to like him, and I would expect that it'll like him. Mm-hmm. And if that marriage works out the way that both sides want, it won't be an issue, Rich. But what if it doesn't? What if one side's unhappy in the marriage and another suitor comes calling? Maybe that could tempt him at some point in time. Mm-hmm. We will see.
Adam Schefter joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. Okay, so do you think is there a faction in the Houston front office? It's like, damn, okay.
No.
Not at all.
I really do not believe that, and I don't believe that for this reason. When you spoke to the Broncos or the Texans or any team that would have considered making a run at Tony Romo, here was the prevailing thought. Number one, we don't know that we're going to get him. Number two, even if we do get him, what are the chances that he's going to stay healthy? And so any of those teams were looking at it in a way that they could not count on Romo being there, period, even if they got him. So it would have been great for Houston to go get Tony Romo, and to me that's the only spot he would have wound up had he been released and had he gone to play for another team. But, again, I think the Texans were preparing to go into this season with Tom Savage as their starting quarterback and Brandon Weeden, the former Cowboys quarterback, as their backup. And I think that they were still looking to explore the quarterback market, whether that means they draft one, sign one of these veterans on the street, do whatever it is to add another arm to the training camp roster. But, again, I don't think Houston ever was counting on having Tony Romo. And I think all these people that are saying, boy, the Texans are disappointed and there goes the season. I just think that's really a little bit overly dramatic here in relation to how much they were counting on Romo for this season.
Well, what about other teams that might have been counting on Romo to maybe wind up in Denver and then Trevor Siemian pops free? I mean, how does this affect not only that, but also the Cutler, Kaepernick, and or RG3 free agent markets, Adam?
I don't think very much, Rich. I really don't. I think Tony Romo was in a separate category. I don't think Denver was trading Trevor Siemian. Denver did get a call this offseason at one point before the Tyrod Taylor situation was settled. There was just, one of those feel-it-out phone calls from the Buffalo Bills. If this doesn't work out with Tyrod Taylor, would give any interest? And I don't think Denver was only interested in trading Trevor Siemian at that point in time. And Buffalo got it solved anyway with Tyrod Taylor and is better off for it. So, to me, that was never really viable. It's not like, boy, if Denver could get Romo, then they could trade Trevor Siemian. They weren't really going to pursue Tony Romo, to the best of my knowledge.
3 weeks from first round, Adam Schefter. It's tomorrow.
Yeah. Right, Rich? You're excited, right?
Oh, please, come on. I love this
Great.
stuff. So give me the name. Read the tea leaves. The name of the first team to choose a quarterback is what? Who? What do you got? Yeah, that's a long, deep sigh.
Yeah, well, Rich,
that's
listen,
the $1 million question there, isn't it?
There are no right answers to this, right? Like if I was going to take a guess, and I emphasize it's a guess.
Yes, no, Adam. This is not a mock draft. This is the real draft, actually.
No, but when you say something,
22
then all
days
of a sudden
before.
it gets Rich Eisen says the Team X is the first team to draft a quarterback.
No, we will not put a topic bar at the bottom. There's no top. This is a topic bar free. Yeah, this is a pure guesswork based on your tea leaf reading, as well as everything else. Yeah.
My guess would be the New York Jets.
That's 6.
That's 6.
You don't think San Diego because there's a whole conversation. Phillip Rivers had this whole back and forth with the media being asked about what do you think about a quarterback being taken here.
You know what? If you're the Chargers, though, you're new to that market, and Phillip Rivers has gotten just crushed in recent years, and he hasn't had the help that he deserves at wide receiver and on the offensive line. To me, you owe it to him to go get him another player in the latter part of his career.
Okay. The Chargers, they're at 7. So the Jets at 6.
That's as plausible as anything.
Who do the Jet Laws? Christian Hackenberg have a brother in the draft that they could take 6 overall? I mean, anybody there?
Deshaun Watson, man.
Is that who it is?
Schefter, are you on the list? Where's your stance on Hackenberg and the Jets' future?
Where are you?
Listen, I think everyone's talking about the Jets quarterback. I think everybody's overlooking the Jets' biggest quarterback acquisition this offseason, that being Jeremy Bates, because I think that they have some real hopes that he, if anybody, is going to be able to bring it out of Christian Hackenberg and any other quarterback that they might or might not draft. But Jeremy Bates is a quarterback guru, and I think that he can do a lot of good for Christian Hackenberg. And if there's anybody that can revive and rescue his career, that would be the guy. And I think that they're optimistic that he might be able to do that. Now, we'll see. Mm-hmm. We'll see. But Jeremy Bates is the underrated, least talked about Jets offseason acquisition so far.
Yeah, I mean, Law, you're not going to get Schefter to give an X and O opinion. He thinks Hackenberg's never going to make it. But here's the way to do it.
Hasn't taken a snap.
Because his career needs reviving. Law, get it straight. That's the way it's working. Let me ask you this, Adam. Mm-hmm. If you had to choose, what happens first? Hackenberg starts a game in the NFL, or the club level of the new Los Angeles Stadium gets built? What happens first?
I think Hackenberg's going to start sooner than you think. That'd be my guess.
Okay.
I think he gets an opportunity at some point.
That's why we love Schefter on this show.
In Canada or where?
Who's the quarterback do you think that might be the Paxton Lynch this year that somebody trades up at the end of the first round because they're afraid he won't last till Friday night? Who do you
Patrick
think?
Mahomes would be the guess there, right? That is if he doesn't go in the middle of the first round. But I think there's more and more talk of 4 quarterbacks going in the first round. It's a question of how you want to slot them. I don't know if Deshaun Kaiser makes it into the first round, but it certainly sounds like Mitchell Trubisky will be there. It certainly sounds like Deshaun Watson will be there. It certainly sounds like Patrick Mahomes has a chance to be there.
So,
those would be the guys I'm looking at right now, and maybe Deshaun Kaiser also slips there too.
and how much fire is there in this Richard Sherman trade smoke coming out of Seattle?
It's amazing how candid both sides are. Like, for such a high-profile player, rarely do you hear two sides speak so openly about the idea of him being dealt. And my understanding is that Richard Sherman initiated this, that he was open to the idea of Seattle exploring a trade for his services. And so maybe just Seattle's trying to appease him and make him happy and make him think that they've given every effort possible to try to find a landing spot for him. And we'll see if something materializes here with the draft a few weeks away.
And what about Butler, Malcolm Butler? How does that play out in the next 3 weeks with the Saints and the Patriots, et cetera?
It's a good question. I think the Saints have looked at some other cornerbacks around the league, Rich, and again, they have drifted in and off of Malcolm Butler at various points. I don't know where they'll finally settle at. I think that they have some interest. It wouldn't surprise me if they try to get something done before the April 21st deadline, but that has not been hot and heavy as of the last week or so.
Are you part of the Cavs-Celtics broadcast tonight, Adam?
Unfortunately not. I wish I were. I would like to be doing the sidelines for that game. I'd like to do a game with Braun, but has not happened, Rich.
If you had a vote for MVP of the NBA, who would you?
Russell Westbrook, easy.
End of story, right? I know.
Easy.
Did you get him in your fantasy draft?
Yes, he was on my team.
What is the name of that team? What is the name of that team?
Woj's Sources.
What are they?
Woj's Sources.
Woj's Sources?
Yeah, Woj.
Okay.
It's hilarious.
So that means if Woj had a fantasy football team, it would have to be Schefter Sources, essentially.
Yeah. If he would feel so inclined to.
Oh, come on. Who would not be so inclined?
Well, you never know, Rich.
And on your pod,
name anyone's fantasy team.
Your pod this week is Tom Coughlin and Sean McVay, huh?
Yeah, I feel a little veteran, a little rookie, old, new, mix it together.
There you go.
And Tom Coughlin was very relaxed and very engaging, and Sean McVay, I think, is a total stud and star, and I think Los Angeles is lucky to have him. Lucky to have him and Anthony Lynn, two great coaches.
Now, here's a great story I'll tell you about Sean McVay. On my flight back from the Combine, he's sitting next to Jack Del Rio the entire flight.
Oh,
okay?
Really?
Yes, with Wade Phillips a row behind, son of bum, sitting there in the economy. Got to be honest with you. But
how about that?
All right, but so it's funny. So we're flying into LAX, and as you know, either depending on which runway you're on, the side of the new stadium is either on the right or the left side of your plane. Yeah. Okay, so the home, this man's palatial home of what he hopes to be for a very long career, is now a hole in the ground. And I turn to him, and I know that the 405 that's right next to the stadium that I'm going to have to go on is either traffic filled or not. And as we fly in, I say to Coach McVay, I'm like, look out the side of your window. Tell me, what's the traffic on the 405 looking like? And he looks at me. He's like, 405? That's what he said. I taught Sean McVay what the 405 is.
Well,
okay.
That's he's got a lot to learn, Rich.
He does. So. And last one for you, Adam. If Tom Coughlin, you arranged for his interview at 10 a.m. Eastern time, were you by the phones at 9:55?
He was actually late, but he was told to go to a different spot. I'm not going to reveal. I think we might have even started there. I have to go listen to it again, but I think I was going to fine him for being late.
Did he not call on time, Adam?
Well, no. He showed up. He showed up to a different spot. There was a miscommunication about where he was supposed to be at a certain time.
Sounds like Adam's being nice to Coach Coughlin.
Adam, love you. Take care.
Love you, Rich. Take care, buddy.
You bet. See you in Philly. That's Adam Schefter of the Worldwide Leader.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.